The time has come. It's time to get my sweet potatoes in the ground. So I've laid out a woven ground cover, a couple weeks ago, I guess, maybe now, so that I could help the soil warm up, because sweet potatoes don't do well in the cold weather. And I almost feel like I was a little late getting them in the ground, but then a couple nights ago there was another risk of frost, so I'm really glad that I waited this long. So they're getting ready, they're getting big, and it's time to go plant them outside. I'm going to gather up all my equipment, my little torch to burn holes in the ground cover, and we're going to get these outside so that we can get our potatoes growing. So when planting your sweet potatoes, you want to make sure that your spacing is somewhere between 12 to 18 inches. So I'm just going to use a measuring tape to make sure. You don't want to make your holes too big, because you want the sweet potato you don't want the weeds to grow in the hole. You will have the occasional weed, but it'll only come out alongside the plant. I have about 25 slips to plant. And you just make your way, burning holes. So when you're planting your sweet potatoes, or anything in the garden for that matter, you only have one chance to really make sure that you've given your plants a really good start. So what I do for sweet potatoes is I want to dig a nice deep hole so that I can make the roots go down straight, especially since they've grown probably more inside than I usually would let them. I want to make sure that my roots get nice and straight. So once I get that nice hole, I'm going to start by adding a handful of bone meal to the bottom, and also my very favorite fertilizer. It's a chicken manure. It's like pellets that I'm going to drop in the bottom of the hole as well. And then I just make sure to mix that up, and then very gently remove the sweet potatoes from the container. I want to loosen the roots a little bit. And then backfill the hole. You don't plant them deeper than they were in the cup. By adding this ground cover so the sweet potatoes grow on top, sometimes the sweet potatoes, if you leave them on the ground, they can create roots and grow even more potatoes along the vine. But I already know here that I don't have a long growing season, and I don't have time to let my sweet potatoes do that. There's just not enough time in our growing season here to let them root and make more potatoes on the ground. So basically you just make your way through your garden, planting them one by one. I have my torch here if my holes aren't big enough. You want to make sure that your holes are big enough as well, so that if it's a little windy, that it doesn't rub against the plant and damage your plant. I'll probably also give them a good watering a little bit later on, because there's no rain forecasted for the next little bit. So I will also give them a good watering once I'm done. Another thing I want to do is I'm going to be placing some of these staples every once in a while to make sure that if the wind does pick up the ground cover a little bit and it moves around, that it doesn't cause any damage to the plants by rubbing the ground fabric on against the stem of the plant and damaging it. So I'll be adding some, probably not every space, but some once in a while. It's really windy here, so I just want to make sure that this is nice and secure to the ground. Or maybe I will add one in every space, just to make sure. There you go, I'm finally done. I had more than I thought. I ended up with 33 sweet potato slips planted in the ground. It went really well. I really have high hopes for this ground cover, and if how my garlic is doing is any indication on how my sweet potatoes are doing, then I believe that I will have a nice sweet potato harvest this year. Let me just show you what I mean by how my garlic is doing. So just to give you an idea how good my garlic is growing, I don't know if it's because of the ground cover, the weather, or a mixture of both, but I don't think my garlic has ever been so tall. The scapes aren't even out yet, or they're just barely starting to come out. Now I hope it's not all leaves. I hope the bulbs underneath are just as nice. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoy my channel. If you do, don't be shy. Subscribe, like, and share, and be sure to check back again soon.